everyone had a delightful lunch and is feeling refreshed. We have an exciting lineup of speakers this afternoon, so I invite everyone to take their seats as we get ready to continue with the next session. So please settle in as we welcome our next speaker to the stage. We are honored to welcome Professor Marimuthu Palanisamy from the University of Melbourne. Professor Palanisamy is an IEEE Fellow and a recognized leader in the field of intelligent sensors and sensor networks. His pioneering work in machine learning and IoT has made a substantial impact both on academia and industry. Professor Palanisamy is a distinguished lecturer of the IEEE Computational Intelligence Society and has contributed to numerous international boards and advisory committees, including as a panel member for the National Science Foundation, with over 500 publications and various prestigious awards, including the Foreign Specialist Award from the Japan's Ministry of Education. Professor Palanisamy's research has supported startups and global companies alike. His interests span smart sensors, sensor networks, machine learning, IoT, and biomedical engineering. Please join me in welcoming Professor Marimuthu Palanisamy.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Mani, for the invitation to come and give a talk. And distinguished academics and industry specialists whom I really come across. I'm very impressed and I'm really honored to be here. So this area of AR, VR, I've been interacting with Professor Mani for a number of years, and I'm still young in the field. I'm excited about it, as I was excited about IoT some 20 years ago. And this is a new area that I think has got really great future. That's my feeling. And I will also try to see what my journey has been like. It is not really some of the math. I'm not really going to discuss a lot of mathematics because it's a wider audience. And so therefore, it's not appropriate to discuss a lot of mathematics. So it's basically, I've worked in the field for a number of years. I'll try to begin with the journey as to why I did some of the things, what really motivated, what really the scope of it, and the pitfalls in some of the things. And then the new work that I'm really beginning to take is in the building industry, is why we do this particular work, and the connections with AR, VR, and what we see it. And it's a long journey. The research is a long journey. It never ends. So it continues to move. But the gain or the reward is picking the right topic, imagining what that topic is going to really impact. It's not really doing some small kind of work and after hoping that we can write a paper and then get some citations and move on. It is really the kind of idea that you think the community needs or the academics need at the time, and then concentrating on this for a number of years together without really expecting immediate rewards. Because immediate rewards, if it is going to be immediate rewards, it's like sugar. You get immediate satisfaction, after that you basically get sick. So, because you never really get anything out of it. So similarly, if you're really thinking about short-term visions, short-term is not going to be sustainable because you've got a long life. You really, coming from the academic side, you really want good skills for the engineers or young PhDs. Get good skills, foundations, then interact with the key staff, either nationally or internationally, and then keep bouncing your ideas across, and then see whether it really takes off. If it really stuck, then you keep asking the questions fundamentally and do that. That's the beginning of the talk. So, my topic today is taking you to building industry. So. And before that, building 5.0 is what we're going to talk about. At the moment, there is no building 5.0. It's more like our own project is building 4.0. And that's really closely related to industry 4.0. Many of you would have heard about industry 4.0. And it is also closely related to digital twin, something that I've talked to. There are quite a few people interested in digital twin. They're all synonymous. IoT is synonymous. Sensor network is synonymous. So there are a lot of topics connected with the different backgrounds. The names come from different backgrounds. So that's basically the outline of the talk. And this particular slide, this was really the work started. So let me give you little bit of journey as to what I mean by IoT, where do we come from this topic. This is 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, literally 20 years ago. 2003-4, right? 2003-4, I made a proposal to the Australian government at that time. There is a new vision at the time. They wanted to invest some money that should really concentrate on the futuristic work, not really the current work, not really the next 5 years, next 20 years beyond, what that could be. That's basically what the vision was at that time. So therefore, you wouldn't be able to define a program. You wouldn't be able to define a mathematics, but it's only vision, just like the talk. It's only vision. And what that can be, and so there was a national competition, and there's 2 proposals founded. Then my proposal was 1. That's what the proposal was about 50 academics all over the world, including some of the Europeans, MIT, Cambridge, Oxford. Many of them were put together. I was leading the proposal. This vision is this. And the vision is, can sensors communicate with another sensor through a network, remotely possible? And that sensor can be small sensors or big sensors, or cameras, or any of the things, and then without the intervention of the human being. And then that also can include actuators. That is, you would be able to give a signal, and that signal can act for a electrical powered device to work, or a mechanical powered device to work, and then get the feedback again through the network and communicate, do that, without intervention of the human being. Right? That's the idea. So that was the proposal. That's pretty much what the IoT is. That's 2003-4, right? Then we had a $50 million grant to demonstrate that idea on the Great Barrier Reef. So putting 100 kilometers away, put deep in the ocean, separate the sensors, and then monitoring the life of a Great Barrier Reef, right? The animal. That is the marine animals. I don't know whether you remember, you can see the reef animals, the coral animals, they actually stay on the ground, deep in the ocean, but they can't move, but they do eat. They eat the fish. And they also multiply. They also spawn. It's like this, Hindu gods, male and female together, remember? The coral animals are like that, male and female together. This season is the breeding season for them. They actually spawn, and then you multiply. So that portion is what we put those demonstrations. And then because we wouldn't be able to communicate, because the sensors are tiny, and then you wouldn't be able to store a lot of data, so we had to come with an idea to send the information to the cloud, from the network to the cloud, and then distribute all the data to all over the world for the research purposes. So it was a massive piece of work. So that became the, kind of a, showcase for the European project, H2020. It was really demonstrated in H2020 projects in Europe. And that really took off. Then we had the 2008. That was the major stock market collapse. I could really relate to that. So we had the first IoT forum in European forum. We started that and then pushed it into the European framework, so that from that time onwards, all the new projects came under the sensor network, all moved to IoT. So then you can see, then we wrote the paper on the 2013, after 5 years, a lot of work. So you could see basically anytime, anything, anywhere, through AAAs, that's the computation. So you look at it, either the home environment, you would be able to turn on your, people say, steak or any of these vegetables, you want to cook, you will be able to turn on from your phone, the cooking, and then you will have a fresh food when you really reach home, because some of the traffic is basically going like an hour. Or utilities, you can monitor utilities, your electricity bill, etc. This was really vision 20 years ago. So that was one. And the other one is a transport, like autonomous vehicles, etc. It actually came into effect much faster than we imagined what that could be. Like you would have a vehicle that could really take you from anywhere. That's already there in California. That's already there in Australia. You could really run into the traffic. I also teach an autonomous vehicles course for a number of years in Melbourne as well. And then community engagement, factory automation, the right to the end, what we see, and I think this one, the right to the end, the utilities and other areas. The defense is again soldiers, soldiers, not really physical soldiers, it is basically robots fighting with one another in that sense. Yeah, so the defense applications, again, plenty now. And so it's many things kind of connected. So it's a combination here in the IoT, when you talk about it, is sensors, storage, because the small sensors cannot store, so you pump it to the cloud, and then put all your algorithms in the cloud, then do the analysis and then send through the network, and then back to actions. It could be autonomous vehicles, it could be anything else, or then Mani and I have been working on with the wearable devices for pregnancy. That is still the same kind of concept. The number of startups have come. And so that's the story. Now, so that story, now it really spawned into wearable devices. Google and other people have come up with, Apple has come up with the Apple Watch. So you basically have that, and we have our own startups. Melbourne funds quite a few wearable devices startups. So you can really take an example is basically you can have a wearable pregnancy monitoring stuff, and remote communities can really get the benefit with these small, tiny devices, $100, and the best of the obstetrician can really monitor the baby's development sitting in Melbourne, exactly the same quality of care as you would get in Melbourne. You would be able to do it. So that's the power of this particular work, device, etc. Now the building 4.0, the reason why the building 4.0 is this, anyway, the funding is about $103 million from industry and government. So over a period of the next 5 to 10 years. So we continue to raise money further. The reason is there is about 7% of the national force, international force, is working, adult force working in industry. And they are poorly regulated, poorly paid, and the contribution to the national economy is phenomenal, but it is still, there are a lot of inefficiencies in that particular stuff. So if you really can, if you were to really put sensors and the cameras, etc., to monitor, can you really improve the efficiency of that industry? Our estimates, and there are a lot of papers in the public policy documents that have come, the efficiency is, if you improve the efficiency with IoT devices, etc., and the analytics, what you can do is you can improve at the same level as the current industry 4.0. This is the proposal, the current industry level. You will be able to improve the economy, the GDP, by $1.4 trillion. So that's a lot of growth in the industry. At the moment, it is lagging behind quite a bit. So therefore, the idea is that we will talk about we're trying to get the better buildings, new efficiencies markets, and also human capacities. From the center, then we're trying to produce a lot of training programs for the industry, PhDs, etc. So the current challenges is the state of the industry is productivity growth is only 1% annually in this particular one. Projects over in the sense, every time if you really look at all the industry projects, the big players here, even here, if they say that we can complete the flats construction in 2 years, it runs to 3 years or 4 years. You never really can be sure whether you will get the flat for whatever investments you're making in time. It's the same thing everywhere, even internationally. And then the construction waste is 35%. That's also quite a lot. You will be able to improve that particular thing quite a bit. And technology adoption gap is that we're talking about technology adoption. I'm talking about VR, AR, and the AI technologies into this thing. So it is also significant gap in this. So this project, together with industry partners, as Professor Mani mentioned, the idea of this workshop is again bring industry together with academics so that you can really get that. So this is an example of that industry, government funding, universities together so that you can really shape that industry problem for a good solution. So these are the broad industry challenges that we talk about. So, and again, the critical thing is IoT, AI, and newer work is AR, VR, so that you would be able to get to the industry for 5.0 or building 5.0. So the 5.0, the key thing is, remember I mentioned like Industry 4.0 is autonomously machines communicating with machines one another, and then you try to have a specific problem. But where does the human come in? And wherever there is a significant gap in latency when you really involve a human, because that's not convenient, you don't know how to really, there is not really adequate user interface, etc. So particularly like a robot, when you're dealing with it, the user interface is not appropriate, you don't know how to start, etc. So the general Industry 5.0 and the Building 5.0 we talk about is, can humans interact with the machines conveniently in a friendly fashion, so that you would be able to do this. And not only that, if you're looking at virtual space, etc., when you really immerse in this, can you interact quite efficiently? If you do interact efficiently, then you can really improve productivity. So for example, somewhere in a complex construction industry, then there will be a lot of issues, and you put a robot and you put a human, and there could be accidents, and you wouldn't be able to monitor, you wouldn't be able to do this, and then there are a lot of issues, legal issues, and sluggishness, unsure whether it should really protect it, and the government can stop it, etc. So therefore, we are trying to get an automation in the building industry in such a way these technologies can come into the force. And so this is the Industry 4.0. The growth is again, when we talk about IoT from the Western world, this side, the Industry 4.0 is more from the German side, from the Siemens, etc. So therefore, there are a lot of automation to play for machines. Again, the same kind of concepts. So the Industry 5.0 you can really see, you would have read it, and so you look into the Industry 1, Industry 2, Industry 3 is pretty much what we are doing at the moment with RFID technology first programming. Industry 4.0 is the cyber physical systems and the IoT technologies. Industry 5.0 is this concentration of introducing new technology like a BM, drones, robots, AI, big data, augmented reality. So this is similar to what the conference focus is, introducing that thing so that you would exploit for newer opportunities, for newer growth programs. So let me give you some example use cases. So one is the crack detection using AI. So one of the few of the examples that we adapt in this particular project. So the crack detection is, so a lot of complex buildings, particularly industry buildings, etc. You would, over a period of time, you would know that the cracks do appear. If you really fix this crack, it's like fixing an individual's health condition, like a small heart attack or some kind of minor strokes, etc. You would be able to save the human, and then you would be able to move ahead. Similarly here, if there is a crack that is appearing and you leave it for too long, then it becomes too late, and then if it is a multi-story building, it becomes much more complex, etc. So what we do is we do a drone, and then through your other complex technology, including your AR, VR, you would be able to control these drones, take the snapshot continuously, and then the monitor, and you would be able to fix the crack. You will be able to estimate the cracks. Small centimeter accuracy, you would be able to do that. So that's basically what the challenge has been. So a number of years we worked on it, and then also you could see the papers that already been published. And the citation is picking up. A lot of industry people are using this paper as well for their own work. So that is the crack detection. In a way, you would be able to deploy to all the buildings, continually monitor, see whether it is basically instead of the inspections on an individual basis. The other one is the construction wearables. The wearables are the smart boards, smart hard hat, or power globes. And the smart boards I mentioned to you about, that you would, construction, being hazardous, worker goes in, you might really get into accidents, or some of the robots could really be clashing, etc. So you would equip with the smart sensors. The sensors would really give you enough information so that when there are two sensors coming close enough, you will be able to program so that your accidents can be avoided. It is pretty much like your fault detection for a human being, in a sense of the IoT devices where you put sensors at the boat. When aged people walk, if there is going to be a trip, it will basically warn you are going to be falling. Similarly, this will really enable humans and the distance operators that an accident is likely to happen, and you should really be operated, by so much. So that is that for the smart boots and the smart hats. Again, you would really see the micro sleeps, and then if somebody is fatigued, etc., you'll be able to see that, and then you would really stop the person from continuing to work. And the power gloves is again, now the machine is basically collaborating with the humans in a way that if you want to lift certain things, you would, or you want to tighten certain things, certain force can't really be, you wouldn't be able to do that, and so it will allow weaker in the sense strength-wise, humans can really come and work at the same level as somebody who's tough. So the machines can really, power can be done. You will be able to fit it so that the gloves can really work autonomously. So therefore, again, these are modern wearable devices. The other one is exoskeletons. People would have heard about exoskeletons for rehabilitation. So we have another project with the NHMRC, National Medical Council, for, I was talking to somebody else who was interested in that particular project as well. That's more like you have a stroke rehabilitations, and then people are sick, one leg may not be working, so you'll be able to get the exoskeleton devices, and you can walk with that support. So that's a new program that's coming in Japan and in Australia as well. These fundings, it's more like robots tailored. It's not really walking robots. These are similar to many robots. You would really fit in, and then you can really get the help of the robot and then to do this. So in the construction industry, you would be able to, like, look at this picture, you will be able to have these devices, and they will give you enough power so that you can lift bigger objects, and then you can really also, and that's one, and the same exoskeletons can also do, similar to regular robots, take things, move, put it there, etc. So those things are coming to the market. Then we're trying to use it for the exoskeletons. There are different support systems for construction workers. This is the second example. And so with that, I will basically conclude. Is it 20 minutes?
Oh, I think we have Q&A.
Yeah, all right.
The timekeeper is there.
Yeah, right. So I will take some questions for the next 5 minutes, and then feel free to ask me.
The audience can raise their hand if they have any questions.
Yeah. So we also work in the wearable devices, wearables for health, and that's for training, etc. So again, AR, VR for the new kind of work. An example, if there is a fetal monitoring thing remotely, and you want to really fix it for the individuals, then these kind of devices, that the work that you're doing, would really help, or you can structure it so that the medical devices can really be automated for working. So anyway, I'll take those questions.
Yeah, very insightful. Thank you very much for enlightening presentation. The size of funding of the consortium where you're doing in Australia is in billions, and you're saying around 100 million, and is it a multi-year, or what are the starting points?
Multi-year. They're all multi-year.
Multinational?
Yeah, multi-year. For example, that's what is missing in India at the moment. I've been talking to the program leaders sometimes, and when we meet, the difficulty is, it's like startups. Like 9 out of 10 startups fail. You would think every startup is likely to be success. That's what every PhD student or postdoc, when you start, do that. But it is generally fails. But one makes it, and one makes it 10 times or 20 times, right? So similarly, research, you really do not know. If you already know what is going to come, you wouldn't have to do the research. The engineers will really do that in industry. Yeah. So in a research, you are not sure what the outcome is going to be. You really have to pursue and then try to identify different things. So in that case, most of the research, if it is really structured for development, that's not really going to be breakthrough research. So therefore, Australian government, broadly for a long period of time, it is invested in Australian Research Council, National Medical Research Council, and then cooperative research centers. That is industry working together with academics, the CRCs. This program is CRC. This program, usually CRCs, is about $100 million of that range for 5 years.
You inspire a lot, and you being part of the first session of our edition is a very honor. Thank you very much.
That's the same thing that there are other industry CRC programs as well. That's one. When the industry contributes money, to the CRC program, then you will ask, okay, they're going to lose the money because you think how are they going to do it? So it's a challenge for the academics to work with competitors coming and contributing money, and who is going to exploit that IP, and how do you really navigate that? That's a lot of work. Work that is in a systematic way you have to handle and make sure that everyone understands and be transparent about it, and they participate more like that. So that becomes a lot of valuable work. So for the industry, the incentive is 40% of whatever they invest, they will get it. See, they don't have to make a profit. I mean, you don't have to show it to the profit. So you put $100 into our center, $40 will come to you the next quarter, for your quarter, whatever it is. Not only there 40, your in-kind contributions, like you appoint an engineer, and that person's salary, you say that it is 40% of that salary is coming there. That also we will get credit, 40% of that. So it is significant. So the industry will lose more like 20% for that work. So therefore it is palatable for them, participate in R&D work. So that's one. And the National Medical Research Council for solving, because Australia is leading in quite a lot of medical projects. So I'm in the panel for the NHMRC MRFF projects. So I periodically see a lot of projects coming through, and they're fairly extensive. Each write-up is extensive with the community participation, responses from the hospitals, whether it's likely to come. You checks and balances, and a lot of these projects will end up as startups. The initial money for validating pilot data, etc., all that comes from the industry, right? So with that, so even the startup that we have, it has gone through that phase where the government provided quite a lot of money into this. And then when you go into the commercial productions or commercialization or FDA trials or anything like that, it becomes a lot easier. So therefore they do that. That's like $5 billion. And then you have this national disability insurance. That is for everyone who is disabled. They want to put the program in such a way. That's one unique in the world, and it's the first in Australia, first in the world from Australia's side. So every disabled person must feel equally respected in the community with all the financial support. So therefore, there's a lot of money they invested. So they would do that. So because parental support may not be there, even if the parental support is there, that's like parents are put into a prison lock, then for the kid to really continually be supported, they are basically, their own life is wasted. You get one cerebral palsy patient or child, and you're stuck. And then you won't be able to do anything. You are continually occupied supporting the kids. So that's where the government comes in with this disability insurance scheme. So the government, so it's like, I know colleagues in my own department who get about $120,000 for one autism kid. So the money comes to the kid's budget, to the patient, not to the government agents, etc. And these kids authorize, or the parent who is the guardian, authorize the allocation of the funding to different services. You might be therapeutic, or you might be able to get support for different services. They do that. So that's phenomenal support. I think it's very revolutionary, and it's very heartening to see that government support is possible with that stuff.